this is where we are.
Hi friends, I'm excited to announce that my blues album, Lost and Found, A Love Story, will be released on all the media platforms March 1st. We're talking Amazon, iTunes, YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, all those funny names. Physical CDs will also be available. So be watching wherever you buy your music, pick it up, and enjoy. On to the video.
Your bed tonight.
Hi friends, I'm excited to announce that my blues album, Lost and Found, A Love Story, will be released on all the media platforms March 1st. We're talking Amazon, iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, all those funny names. Physical CDs will also be available. So be watching wherever you buy your music, pick it up, and enjoy. On to the video. I grew up watching football. I enjoyed baseball just as much, but there was something about football. My dad would watch any sport from football to full contact tiddlywinks, but my interest was a lot narrower. This was when it was easy to keep track of the teams and standings and stuff. You had the NFL and the AFL, and they each had a certain number of teams. Each league stayed in their lane, but in 1967 they decided to have a championship game between the two league winners. By the third one, it came to be called the Super Bowl. Then the two leagues merged, we started getting divisions and all that, and it was too much for my tender little head. Today, I follow the Seahawks and I watch the Super Bowl. But my football knowledge was a lot broader in 1978 when this takes place. We're watching the Los Angeles Cougars, a professional team getting ready for a playoff game. David Burnett is working as an ankle wrapper and general gopher.
What's wrong with you, man? This is just a scrimmage.
What's the matter, old man? Game getting too rough for you?
The guy with the pad is our subject, John Toby. He's the most aggressive linebacker in the league, and he just body slammed his own quarterback when he didn't even have the ball. That would have been a 15-yard penalty in any game. Coach is not happy.
Take it easy, John. Take it easy.
Hey, Toby, try not to cripple anybody, right? Remember, these are your teammates. We only got 3 quarterbacks.
Doctor, I'd like to speak to you.
Hey, Burnett, have a look at Kurt.
The guy with the camera is Dr. Stewart. He's been doing a research study on using hypnotherapy to control aggression. You might say John Toby is his star pupil because he has enough aggression for about 6 people.
That's gonna hurt for a while, I'm afraid.
Terrific. At least I won't have to play against John Toby on Sunday.
You okay, old man?
Just great.
Didn't mean to hit you that hard.
It's a scrimmage, Toby. You weren't supposed to hit at all.
Kurt? Kurt? What's the matter with him?
Just a couple of cracked ribs. That could upset him pretty much.
Cracked ribs, you're kidding.
Why'd you hit him so hard, John?
We can't let up this close to the playoffs. He knows that. Gotta keep the fire stoked.
That doesn't mean you cripple your own offense. Hello, McFly? We're going to learn real quick that this guy doesn't get it. He doesn't think there's a problem. He's the only one on the team who thinks that. The other players tend to cover and make excuses for him because he wins games.
Dr. Stewart?
Just leave him on the desk, please.
Oh, boy, these pictures of John Toby are enough to scare all the other teams right out of the league.
Where's Flournoy? He usually brings the reports.
Well, we traded jobs. I wanted the opportunity of having a chance to speak with you.
Huh? What about?
Your work, particularly the study that you're doing on aggression in professional football players.
Stewart has a rather unusual hypothesis about aggression, and he's trying to test it using Toby.
The seeds
of aggression lie deep in the subconscious mind. Aggressive behavior is nothing more than an acting out of those subconscious thoughts.
That's very good. Of course, others have said much the same thing. Waldheim, Marshall, Banner.
Ah, yes, but Banner was talking about strength, not aggression. The ability to find a well of hidden strength at a moment of crisis.
Perhaps Dr. Banner failed to see that the source, that hidden well, is the same for both needs.
Perhaps.
It really is an interesting idea, but I have several questions about the nature of strength to do something like save somebody and aggression to potentially hurt somebody. I'm not sure how both can have the same origin, but if I start exploring it, we'll all fall asleep. David asks if he can observe a session with John Toby. As long as John agrees, go ahead.
Nah, I don't mind, David. Besides, I'll be hypnotized. See that?
Uh-huh.
Last championship team this city ever had. We're gonna be the next. See that little punk in that picture there?
Yeah?
I was so tough I didn't need pads. I used to eat quarterbacks for breakfast.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Haven't changed much, have you?
Let's go. June will kill me if we're late for dinner.
The boy in that picture has blood in his eye. He's already out to hurt someone, and seriously. If I may use my talent for denoting the obvious, this guy has issues. He's played by character actor Denny Miller. Mr. Miller was kind of locked into a choice when he was in school. His dad was a phys ed instructor, so it's no surprise when Denny turned out to excel at sports. I find it funny that he's a football player here because he played basketball. He liked to be picky about his roles, and he was good enough to get away with it. In 2014, he was diagnosed with ALS and died soon after at the age of 80. As we've come to expect in this show, he's turning in a performance that will blow your doors off.
My dad got me started when I was a kid. All his life, he was fascinated with this military stuff. You know, stiff upper lip, hot, 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 and very rigid.
No, quiet here.
Spent so much time with these little guys, I forgot to study my anatomy.
Yeah, but it didn't stop you from making three-time All-American, though. I think you just didn't like to study.
Schools and universities letting sports figures slide by in their courses was a big problem then, and it still is. We all know why, too.
Come on, David. Have some dessert.
Stick with these guys and you'll never have a weight problem.
Yes, I can see that.
Hey, check this out, man, in the National Register. Is John Toby the hardest hitting football player in the league, or is he just becoming the dirtiest? A little of both, eh, John?
I wonder if that was Jack McGee. If it is, it's as close as he gets to being written into the episode. For being in the opening credits ahead of Lou Ferrigno, he spends a lot of time on the sidelines.
Come on, Bowers. Don't read that stuff. Sports writers. Anything to sell newspapers. Guy spends 8 hours with me, and this is all he can come up with to say.
Hey, but look, John, a little adverse publicity, man, it can help you out. It can give you the edge on Sunday, you know what I mean? You know, it'll put something on Kermit Connolly's mind when he drops back for a pass, you know what I mean?
June?
Tony knows that kind of talk upsets June. There's a good reason for it. David can't help himself. He has to find out more and see if there's something he can do.
Sorry, David, about sharing my feelings over that stupid article.
Please, don't apologize. You had every right.
I've made my share of ice packs and rubbed liniment on that body too many nights to remember. But that's not the hard part. You get used to the injuries, the trades, the being too old to play.
The life of a professional sports player isn't all that easy. This is something that always bothered me about Cuba Gooding Jr.'s character in Jerry Maguire. His family had put down roots. His wife was saying they needed money to do house repairs and stuff. And if he gets traded tomorrow, what happens to all those roots? It was the one part of that otherwise really good movie that I couldn't fully buy. We won't learn the complete story of John and June, but the way she talks, she would probably have the same issue with the movie.
What bothers me is that article's not completely false. I know that. John is playing differently.
Well, maybe it's the playoffs. I mean, you know, it's a championship
No, it's not
game.
that simple. John Toby always hit hard. That's what made him great. But he's changing into someone else. He's turned mean. He does play dirty.
When David observes Dr. Stewart's session with John, he begins to understand.
Lousy stinking cheaters! Lousy stinking cheaters! Lousy stinking cheaters!
Why is this so upsetting to you, John? It's only a game of touch.
What's a winning touchdown? The quarterback was across the line of scrimmage when he threw the pass. He knew he was. He just won't admit it. Why won't somebody listen to me?
Just relax now. I'm going to bring you forward now. You begin to return to the present, a little bit at a time.
His dad pounded into his head, do not cheat, do not cheat, do not cheat. His problem as an adult is he can't get loose from that. Cheating of any kind puts him into a killer rage. Quarterbacks put him into the same kind of rage, whether they cheat or not. That's why he became a linebacker, so he could hurt quarterbacks. He's back, and the doctor told him to only remember what he's comfortable with, which means he won't remember any of that. David has already identified the problem. The doctor gets him to that point of finding the origin of the aggression, but he doesn't do anything about it. He doesn't let John remember it so he can deal with it and root it out. June's suspicion is correct. The therapy is what's making him more aggressive.
The key to it all is in what you saw happening today with John Toby. He's beginning to re-experience the first moments of anger and aggression that have become so much a part of his life.
Well, Dr. Stewart, I've had some experience in hypnotherapy, and potentially it's very dangerous.
Yes, of course. But nevertheless, the aggression is there. We know that. The point is that we must isolate it. Then maybe we can learn to control it.
David can tell that Stewart is deliberately doing a halfway job. He can't figure out why.
We call it the Coliseum. Every Sunday, they come out here and gear themselves to hit another human being as hard as they possibly can. And 75,000 people come here to cheer them on. It's all out aggression. Except that when the whistle blows, they turn it off, just like that.
I get why a lot of people think football looks like gladiator sport. The hitting can get pretty rough at times. But in the main, football is a game of strategy. Defense has to figure out what the offense is doing and try to stop them. The offense has to second guess the defense and try to put the ball where they aren't. The real goal in a tackle isn't to hurt the other man, it's to stop his forward progress. If he gets his bell rung in the process, he knew that was a possibility when he put the ball in his hands. His task is to outthink the defensive players and move the ball as far downfield as he can. Sometimes he succeeds, sometimes he doesn't. That's the game. But then there are those players like John Toby who have great difficulty turning off the aggression.
Anger and control in the same moment.
Exactly. We all have it in us, David, in varying degrees. When we need to be angry or tough or aggressive, we somehow reach into our subconscious and come up with just the right amount, and then we shut the rest off, hopefully. But if we don't, if we cross over that line, isn't that what abnormally aggressive behavior is all about?
What he's saying does make a lot of sense. What he's doing with it, not so much. It's game day, and all 75,000 of those people the doctor mentioned are in their seats.
Red, 24, red, 24. Flanker left, flanker left. Let's go, let's go.
we saw was the middle linebacker for the Chicago Bears putting a big sack on the quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I wonder how much it cost to license a bunch of Bears footage. For those who don't know the various helmets, when it comes time for the big game, they'll actually be playing the Cleveland Browns. It all has cut-ins of Toby and our other characters, and it's well done. So my recommendation is, just go with it.
All eyes in professional football have been on this man, number 51, John Tobey. He's brought the Los Angeles Cougars to the brink of their first championship in 20 years.
We're actually watching the guy who defined the middle linebacker spot for the whole NFL from 1965 to 1973, and he's still considered the high bar for the position. The world knew him as Dick Butkus. He was one of the most aggressive players out there, but he played fair. He played hard out of dedication to the game, not out of anger like John Toby does. As quick as the play was over, Butkus was back in the huddle sorting out the next play. Other players feared him. He said outright that he would never deliberately try to hurt someone, but he would snarl at the opposing players at the line of scrimmage to scare them. He was once accused of poking a player in the eyes through his helmet. He played hard and would often try to invent reasons to get angry, so he played even harder. I wasn't able to find any information about how effective that might have been. Off the field, he was a devoted family man and a well-known philanthropist. After football, he moved into acting, most often with his pal and fellow linebacker Bubba Smith. They did some TV, but the country fell in love with their commercials. This was my favorite.
We just went to the opera and we didn't understand a word.
Yeah, but that big guy in those tights sure could sing.
Well, at least we still drink a very civilized beer. Light beer from Miller. Light tastes great.
But us impresarios drink it because it's less filling.
We can't afford to get filled up. Tomorrow night, we're going to the ballet.
Yeah, I sure hope they do it in English.
Me too.
Footage of him was a good choice because John Toby plays just like him. I don't know what beer he drinks, though.
Tell me, did you know him way back then?
No, we met in college.
Something wrong?
I don't know. Yes, I think something is wrong. It's gotten worse, David. He can't control his temper. The slightest little thing sends him into a rage.
Have you talked to Dr. Stewart about it?
I tried twice. Both times he assured me that everything was fine. I just don't think he can see it.
Or for whatever reason, he doesn't want to. Barbara Lee didn't do that much acting. Her last job was in a low-budget movie in 1979, and then she quit to do something else. By 1997, she found a job at Playboy. She had done some photo shoots for them before, and stayed there until she retired in 2014. Why did she quit acting? I'll let her answer that. Look at the price of fame. It's horrible, the pressure on movie stars to be movie stars all the time. People tell horrible stories about them, and they're followed so they can take pictures of them having an off day, daring to look like a normal person. I'm glad I got out of that and could grow old gracefully. Let's talk about someone who tells it like it is. Stardom isn't worth your soul. Right now, she wants David to talk to John about his aggressive and angry tendencies. John likes David, so maybe he'll listen.
I tried to tell him. Who? My dad. You can't cheat. It's not fair. My dad always taught me not to cheat.
Well, then why won't he listen to you?
He says they won the game fair and square. He says that I shouldn't make excuses. No, I'm not, though. I'm telling the truth. He just won't believe me.
Then what does he say?
Considering the picture we've gotten of his dad, I have a feeling it won't be sympathetic.
John, shake hands and act like a man. And I don't want to hear you whining about it anymore.
Don't shake hands with a cheater.
Do it.
But I'm...
I don't want to shake hands with a cheater.
Does your father make you shake hands?
He tried to, but I punched him instead.
Who, Johnny? The quarterback.
I hit him as hard as I could.
I once saw a Little League coach doing batting practice with his son. This particular level of Little League used a pitching machine. I watched this boy hit line drive after line drive to various parts of the outfield. Every one of them would be a base hit. He didn't flub a single ball. When they were done, his dad said, and I quote, "You must be taking your eye off the ball. You're hitting it all over the place." All I could do was stare. It's a lot easier to get the ball past the other guys and get on base if they don't know where you're going to hit it. He thought that was a bad thing. I get the feeling John's dad is one of those.
Kill him. My dad is holding me and punching and fighting. I can taste the tears. Everybody's watching. They don't understand. They all think I'm lying. I'm not lying. I just hate cheaters.
If you were watching closely, in that flashback, he was hitting an adult. He didn't mention doing any damage to the cheater quarterback. He just said he hit him. File that away. It's game time again.
He's released the ball, he's unprotected, and Toby comes out and slams right into it, barrels into him. He is down, he is hurt, the flag is down. It is a definite personal foul.
I get his anger that time because that guy tackling him should have had a holding penalty easy. But Kermit the quarterback isn't the one who did it, so why'd he hit him? He's out of the game with a probable broken leg. John won't settle down, so the referee ejects him from the game.
Cheaters! Lousy, stinking cheaters! Cheaters!
John!
Didn't you see it? I swear to you, they cheated! I'm not lying!
I saw it, John.
Why won't anybody listen to me? I saw it! Neither and I don't deserve to win! I'm not shaking anybody's hand, you understand? Now when you cheat like that, never!
Dr. Stewart either has to do something about this or admit he can't and pass John off to someone else.
What I saw was irrational, Doctor. The man thought that he had been cheated. He didn't know where he was or what he was doing.
David, you are not a doctor.
That's a big assumption. Everybody assumes that because he does a physical job, he's not an intellectual or someone who knows things. Judging people by their job is a long and well-established American tradition. All that person does is serve you fast food. They don't deserve a high pay. So if they go get a better job, you get to do without your food. Americans are weird.
And if you were a professional, you would realize that you can't be sure of anything you think happened.
Did you see what he did to Kermit Connolly? Now, we're not just talking about a hard-hitting football game.
He says you have to talk to the coach and bench him until this is dealt with because he's a danger to himself and the other players.
All right, then bench him long enough for you to have a talk with him.
David, I have been talking to him for months, remember? Now, I'm not going to put my professional reputation on the line unless I have something a little more solid than your opinion. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a session to conduct.
He's been talking to John, but he hasn't been saying anything. He's no closer to resolving John's anger than he was a year ago. And obviously, a football game is more important than a man's well-being. A couple of John's teammates who overheard that conversation seem to agree.
We heard you talking to Dr. Stewart, David. Gotta tell you, you disappoint us, man. We thought you wanted us to win the championship this year.
You don't understand. I'm doing it for John's own good. He needs help. If he plays in any more games, he's gonna hurt somebody.
That's the idea, son. That's a bad time of year for you to be thinking about the other teams.
Don't do that again.
Don't do that anymore.
He knows what'll happen if they keep this up, and they have no idea that he's trying to protect them.
You were hired to wrap ankles and to clean up around here, weren't you? What gives you the right to stick your nose in anybody else's business, huh?
All right, guys, just knock it off, okay? Just...
They force him into the steam room and lock the door. Then they turn the temperature up enough that it's pushing 200 degrees. No, I don't know why the controls even go that high, but they do. I think I get what the idea is, but David has his own ideas. Was that great or what? Things always work out better when he encounters women because they don't have anything to prove. Guys? Guys always have to try and hit back. It takes the average guy an inordinately long amount of time to figure out that the big green guy is going to break him in two, and an even longer amount of time for him to figure out that running away is a good thing. I base these conclusions on data collected from over 50 years of carefully observing the common American guy in his natural habitat.
I'm telling you, Coach, the guy had to go 290 and there wasn't an ounce of fat on him.
So where is he?
Hey, Coach, he wrecked the place and I guess he disappeared.
And he was green, right? Played for Green Bay? Let me know when you got his name on a contract. In the meantime, stop taking whatever it is you're taking before the commissioner's office gets wind of it.
They think the Hulk will want to play football. The comic book Hulk might get into it for a while, and I agree he'd make an amazing running back. This Hulk, if you handed him the ball, he'd probably try to eat it.
Will you talk with John Toby?
Do you realize what it takes to break one of these?
His wife came to you for help. You turned it down.
That's not so. I explained that John is a research subject, not one of my patients. I think you said that yourself, as I recall.
Then take him out of the study. Make him your patient. He needs help.
It's amazing how much the Bill Bixby look can say without saying a word. He doesn't have to. The doctor knows the truth. Those eyes boring into his soul are forcing him to face up to it, and he doesn't like it.
Have you asked John if he thinks he needs help?
You know what he'd say.
Exactly. Look, David, there's the smell of a championship in the air. No one's going to take to the idea of John Toby sitting out the next few games. Least of all, John Toby. I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do.
You won't escape those eyes, Doctor. They'll haunt you in your sleep. And I hope they terrify you so much they straighten your hair.
Kermit, I'm John Toby.
I know who you are.
How's the leg?
Don't you read the papers? Pros aren't too keen on quarterbacks that limp.
You'll prove them wrong. You're too good.
Okay. You made your courtesy call. You finished?
Kermit just subtly told John that he knocked him out of pro football forever. John thinks an I'm sorry and a little gift will fix that.
I just wanted to tell you I'm sorry about the leg. It was an accident. No need to get sore.
You lousy grandstander. You hit me late.
I did not.
You meant to hurt me. So don't come around here sulking and pretending to apologize.
It was an accident. Things like that happen every game.
They do when you're playing. Get out of here.
Kermit, you're wrong. I didn't.
Get out of here!
Here's the thing. We're going to learn that John doesn't remember hitting him late. Fact is, he doesn't fully remember hitting him at all. He's convinced he didn't cheat.
Thanks for waiting. guess I could have come down alone, but I needed the moral support.
How was he?
Kermit's wrong. I didn't hit him late. Well, you were on the sidelines. You saw it. I didn't hit him late, did I?
There was a penalty, John.
I know. I heard the whistle. I knew the play was over. I just couldn't stop.
Then you just admitted that you did hit him late. John needs to listen to himself when he talks.
I don't know why, but I wanted to kill him. I couldn't think about anything else. I just wanted to kill him. David, what's happening to me?
There's a medical term for it. It's called transference reaction.
What's it mean? Am I sick?
In a way you are, yes, but like any disease, it can be treated. Rest and treatment.
Rest?
Yes.
You mean no playing?
That's right.
What the hell are you talking about? We're on our way to a championship.
I'm much more concerned about you than a championship.
What are you trying to do? I don't want to hear any more of this. Who are you anyway, a lousy ankle wrapper?
John, you have lost the ability to distinguish between anger you have felt in the past and the present, between what is real and what is not.
Shut up! I told you, I don't want to hear this.
I don't want to have this nerve problem in my leg, but there it is. I can deny it and say it ain't so, and my leg won't get any better. I can say there's something wrong with my leg and go to the doctor and get it treated, and it might get better. I have a feeling that comparison would be lost on John right now.
I'm trying to tell this to you as your friend.
I got all the friends I need. 75,000 of them every Sunday. 75,000 friends yelling, Toby, Toby, Toby!
Yeah, that's part of the problem. The masses reward anger and infliction of pain. Some people really do want a gladiator match. I can picture the players slamming into each other, and when one goes down, the guy who put him there looks up at Walter Payton in the judgment box, and Walter gives a thumbs up or a thumbs down. He always gives thumbs up, though. There's a reason they call him Sweetness.
43. Split left. Flanker wide. Ready, set. Down.
He packed his soldiers up during the night and brought them here where he's basically detached from reality. June saw him go but didn't know if she should say anything. She's been second-guessing herself ever since.
Do you know where he might have gone?
The game isn't until this afternoon. He usually reports to the stadium the morning of a game.
Well, nobody's here yet. June, he needs help. Now, we have to find some way to convince him of that.
Well, how?
I don't know, but there has to be a way.
I can't get through to him, not like his father could. I'm losing him, David. There's nothing tangible I can hold on to. You're the only other one who cares that something's wrong. If you don't help us, no one will.
Did you see the light come on over David's head about halfway through that conversation?
June, he needs help. Now, we have to find some way to convince him of that.
Well, how?
I don't know, but there has to be a way.
I can't get through to him, not like his father could. I'm losing him, David. There's nothing tangible I can hold on to.
Okay, so he didn't leave room for the light bulb. Anyway, the pieces just fell into place. The boy in that picture with murder in his heart is charging at his own father. Hey, doctor, there's something rather obvious here that you seem to have missed.
Fathers versus Sons annual touch football game, Cub Scout Pack 72, opposing captains J.P. Toby and son John. And there is where it all began. His father was the opposing quarterback, and he cheated, and that's what we've been listening to in all these sessions. But John is unable to distinguish the feelings that he should have out on the football field and those that you've unleashed in him.
The problem isn't that he's unleashed them. The problem is that he hasn't done anything with them as a result. He drags up the repressed memories, but then he stops. I noticed that the first time I watched it. When a psychologist or psychiatrist is able to dredge up something like that, they do it so the person can deal with it and get rid of it. He keeps telling John not to remember it. That doesn't make sense.
Football is a contact sport. People get hurt. Therefore, no one is going to listen to you. You don't understand that, do you?
I understand that there is one man who is totally out of control and blatantly trying to hurt, perhaps even kill, another human being, a person, a quarterback. So what is going to happen in that stadium? 75,000 people cheering him on. Doctor, are you really so certain that John Toby is not going to go out on that field and try to kill somebody?
He's not trying to treat John, and suddenly David knows why.
How much is your grant, Doctor? $50,000? $100,000? Are you afraid that you're going to lose your funding if somebody finds out that one of your subjects cracked up because of your research and you did absolutely nothing to stop it?
It always comes back to the same thing, doesn't it? He's chosen to sacrifice his own integrity and John's life for the almighty dollar. I have a standing wish to go back in time, find the person who invented money, and punch him in the face.
And if I were to do as you say, if I stand up before the world and tell them that I've done something wrong and then nothing happens. The grant was for $225,000. And it took 5 years of my life to accomplish it.
Your technique doesn't work, Doctor. John is the proof. Why should any foundation or company keep funding a project that doesn't work? It may have taken 5 years of your life, but that was your choice. How many years of his life is John going to lose when he finally does kill someone? Pardon me for not pitying you. He gets a bit more of the Bill Bixby look. How does he do that without glasses? And David leaves. He's trying to contact June to see if they can do something about John, and it's making him late for work.
Didn't Burnett get these balls autographed? Where the hell is Burnett anyway? Great. Call security and have his pass revoked. If he doesn't care enough to be here on time for a playoff game, he doesn't have to be here at all.
If you've been here long enough to remember when we looked at Shazam, you understand that when I say he just did a Jackson Bostwick on David. For those who haven't been here that long, Jackson Bostwick played Captain Marvel in this series, and he was really popular in the role. He was injured on set one day and had to go to a doctor for it the next morning. Even though the producers had told him to go to the doctor, when he wasn't on set for shooting, they fired him and hired a, pardon me, rather inferior replacement. Mr. Bostwick showed up for work and learned that he didn't have a job. The coach just did that to David.
Hi, Charlie.
Coach Haggerty's orders, Mr. Barnett. Sorry.
Come on, Charlie, I work here.
Not anymore. Now beat it, friend.
Look, I'm an assistant trainer. You've got to let me in.
He finds a scalper but doesn't have enough money. Eventually, he locates a quiet spot and climbs the fence. He has to get to John. The game isn't going that well for John. The Memphis offensive line is keying on him, double-teaming him, anything to keep him from their quarterback. And they're succeeding. He's getting angrier and angrier.
That's far enough. Hey, come on. I told you the coach gave explicit orders. I don't understand. At least let me call down and talk to Toby in the field.
It's 2nd and 4 for Memphis. And Toby comes up, leaping over his defensive lineman, and he brings that running back.
That was vintage Dick Butkus. The guards have a drunk tank of sorts where they can put spectators who get too rowdy. There's 4 other guys right now gathered around a little radio.
Toby! John Toby!
Here's the 35, and he's
Pipe down! I can't hear the game!
Don't worry, bro. Listening to your speech, you probably won't remember most of it anyway.
16 for Memphis. It's become a battle of wills between number 51 and those Memphis linemen whose job it is to protect Brian Tolliver. The tension continues to grow between these two teams. The LA Cougars, led by number 51 John Toby, fight valiantly to stop this Memphis attack.
I told you, shut up! Oh my God!
I changed my mind. Chuck all you want, sir. He's not interested in them, so he growls to give him a good scare, and then breaks the door and heads for the field.
The play is stopped. Set up a 37, a passing situation. We'll see if John...
Hey, you get there your way, he'll get there his way. The Memphis players are still keeping Toby corralled, and I haven't seen a hold yet. They're doing it all clean, and he's about to explode.
Score for Memphis, and L.A. holding this drive. Tolliver calling the signals.
There it is. As David said, his dad preached about not cheating and then cheated himself in the big game. He refused to shake his dad's hand and started punching him instead. It all comes back to him with every play. He is one tortured soul. Unfortunately for those around him, he's a very big, very strong tortured soul. Can I say, my hat's off to whoever was on that camera. That didn't look like the safest place to be.
What the hell is that?
There is something out there now, and Toby is furiously swinging at Brian Tolliver, and I don't understand this.
That's okay, the green guy understands it, and he's on it.
The other players have noticed it too, but before they can get to him, Toby has been stopped, and he's picked up by whatever that thing is that's come out onto the field.
Let's hope Tolliver's helmet protected him more than Bauer's helmet protected him back in the locker room.
With Toby over his shoulder, he's crossing the 20, the 15. The Cougar players are trying to stop him, but they seem totally helpless. He's got number 22, Watson, by his jersey. He's literally carrying him along. He throws Watson aside and continues on. He's at the 10, the 5, and into the end zone with Toby like a broken doll.
Aren't you supposed to say touchdown Memphis?
Slung over his shoulder. He puts Toby down in the end zone. The other players start to move in.
Yeah, he's going to give them a little illustration about why they shouldn't do that.
And he's begun his...
Any questions, gentlemen? Okay, then. It's over. He's broken, so now a real doctor can begin to remake him without the baggage. Oh yes, Memphis was ahead 7-0 when all this happened, so they were declared the winners.
You have to leave? Well, now that the season's over, I was going to go up to Big Bear and do some fishing.
Oh, I really love that, but I can't.
Why not?
Well, John, I'm afraid that there may be some publicity about what happened to you in Dr. Stewart's hypnotherapy sessions. I would just as soon that none of that spilled over on me.
John's a figure who's in the public eye. He understands. He's getting proper care with a proper doctor now. I hope Dr. Stewart lost not only his grant, but his license. He was more interested in studying John's rage than he was in helping him deal with it, because that kept the money flowing. That's the weird thing about a project like his. If he actually succeeds in proving his theory, the money stops. For that matter, if he succeeds in disproving his theory, the money stops. The only way it keeps coming is if he keeps saying he needs more data. That means even if he can cure John, which is questionable, he can't cure John or he loses his meal ticket. If someone would like to explain to me how that makes any sense, I'll probably want to spend a little time here first. That's not a bad idea. Didn't know if she could. Okay, so he didn't leave room for. Oh, come on. Saying he needs more data. Now don't stumble. What do you want, sir? Do that again. Don't hit yourself in the glasses.